In this video I will show you how to knit the heel for this sock, and this video will show how to do the heel flap, the turn and angling of the heel, and the gusset. If you need instructions for the whole thing from top to bottom, then you can find my other video that is called something like how to knit socks step by step. You can also follow the link that will be in the video description for this to find recipes for these children sizes, and also a link to the other video. First I will show you how to knit the heel flap, and as you can see I have done the ribbing, and when I knit the heel flap I will use only my first and last needle on my row. So I will just begin. This is the right side of the work, and I will begin to just knit. When I come to the purl stitches here, I stick my knitting needle in here in the middle. This is because if I do it from this side I will twist the stitches more, and I don't want that. This just has to do with how the stitches sit on the needle when they are knit stitches and purl stitches. So now when they all become knit stitches, they will all twist the same way, and problem solved. So now that I have done the first needle, I will just turn my work around, and I am now facing the wrong side. I will slip the first stitch. I make sure that my yarn are on the left side of that stitch so that it goes in between here instead of here on the edge. If I pull the yarn here, I will make little knots along the edge, and I want a smooth, even edge. So because of that I will bring my yarn between the first and second stitch. So now I will purl my way back to the beginning of the row. Like this, and I will do the same thing on my last needle of the row. And now, facing the wrong side, I will begin to purl. And if you're not sure whether you bring your needle through the stitch this way or this way, just try both and you'll feel what's the easiest. If it's difficult and you have to work to be able to do it, then probably you should go the other way. So now I have made purl stitches here on needle 4. Then I turn my work around again. Now facing the right side, I can slip the first stitch. I already have my yarn away from me here, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I will knit my way back to the beginning of the row. So now I have completed the 2 first rows of my heel flap, and I will continue to repeat this operation until I have the amount of rows that I want. So you will find how long the heel flap should be in your pattern, or you could measure it if you have more information to use to decide how many rows. So this is the first step, and now I will continue to knit, and I'll get back to you when the heel flap is done to show you how next step is. Now my heel flap is finished, and I will begin to turn the heel. And now this is the beginning of my row, and I will begin to knit, in this case, only 1 stitch. If I had a bigger sock size with more stitches, I would knit 2, 3 or 4 stitches before I did anything else, but now it's just 1 stitch, but this will vary according to your pattern. Next thing I will do is to knit 2 stitches together like this. Then I knit 1 stitch, and I will turn my work. Again I slip the first stitch, and I will purl my way back to the beginning of my row. When I do needle number 4 here, I will purl 1 stitch, and I will purl 2 stitches together. There you go. And purl 1 stitch. And again I will turn slip the first stitch, and I will knit my way back to the beginning of my row. Now you can see I have a gap here and a gap here. On my next row I will begin to knit until I arrive at the last stitch before the gap, and I will take the last stitch before the gap and the first stitch after, and I will knit them together, knit the next stitch, and I will turn my work again, slip the first stitch, purl back to the beginning of the row, continue to purl, and I will purl the last stitch before the gap and the first stitch after together, purl 1 stitch, turn again, and now when I slip the first stitch and knit my way back to the beginning of the row, you will see that I have moved the gap farther to the side. And I will continue to repeat this operation until I have moved the gaps over the edge. So there is no longer a gap. Then you are finished and ready for the next step. And now I have finished that step. You can see that this is the heel turn, and you can see the angle here. And now I will pick up stitches on each side here to connect the heel with the top of the foot. And then I will begin just to knit my first needle. Like this. And then when I pick up the stitches, one really easy way of doing it is just to use the holes here on the side and just stick my left needle through this way and my right this way. Just pick up the yarn and knit through the hole. This tends to make small gaps here, so to avoid that, if you choose this method, I would recommend that you stick both needles in this way and then remove the right one, because now the stitch is twisted, and then knit. Now you see there is no hole or gap here, and you'll just continue to do so along the edge here. But now I will do it a different way. I will turn the whole thing to the wrong side, and I will show you that it is also a good alternative to pick up. It will also involve the stitch here on the edge, but I will move here on the inside. You can see I'm pulling on this here, and the next one. No, that wasn't the right one. I have to go under here. Yeah, there you can see I'm pulling on this. So I will just continue. Just making sure I am pulling the right stitch. There. And so now I have done it all on the wrong side. So in theory it should look very good on the right side. And now I just keep knitting all the stitches I picked up. And there you go. And I will continue to knit ribbing on needles 2 and 3. Needle 2. And needle 3. And so here I will do the same thing. So I will try to find where the stitches are on the wrong side, and I just test that I am picking up the right one by watching if I pull the stitch on the right side. And now I am supposed to have 7 stitches, now I have 6, so I think I'll have to go here, yeah. And now I do not have a needle to knit with, so I will transfer all my stitches onto needle number 4, or the last needle in the row. Alternatively, I could find a needle number 6 in the same size. There you go. And here also I twist knit. I would pick up this way, but now to avoid making holes I go around and twist the stitches around on the edge or side of the heel. And 6 and let's see, 7. The reason why this is so tight and difficult is because on this side I knitted these stitches before, so I had one row more to pick from, and I haven't knitted this one yet, so don't have the same room here. So that was the side, and now I only have left to knit back to the beginning of my row. So now it looks like this, and next step is to do, I think, the gusset here to shape the foot. Then I will just begin to knit needle 1, and when I have 2 stitches left I have 2 options. I could do like this and knit the 2 together, no problem, but I want to show you how I prefer to do it. And on this side where I am left with the 2 last stitches here, I knit the first, place it back onto my left needle. I take this last stitch, I just slip it over, and then I place this stitch back onto my right needle. Then I will knit needles 2 and 3. Just continue to do the ribbing. And now I will do the same thing that I did on this side, only now it has to be, I have to mirror it. It's on the other side. So I will just slip the first stitch, I knit the second one, and I slip the first over, and I continue to knit back to the beginning of the row. So, and I will continue to do this operation where I reduce the number of stitches on each side here until I have the same amount of stitches on each needle. I believe it's in this case 10 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yes. And when I have 10 stitches on each of my 4 needles, I will just continue to knit the foot until it measures whatever length that I want, before I finish by knitting the toe. But this is the whole process of knitting the heel.